Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I am David Conklin, President of Dutchess Community College, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2014 State of the County Address. We are honored that the State of the County Address this year will be delivered at Dutchess Community College by County Executive Marc Molinaro. As many of you know, Marc is a graduate of the college and a member of the Dutchess Community College Alumni Hall of Fame. I especially want to recognize those in the audience tonight who are graduates of Dutchess Community College or who are attending Dutchess Community College now. We are honored that you are here tonight and that you selected to attend Dutchess Community College. My role this evening is to serve as Master of Ceremonies and introduce those individuals who will participate in the program, as well as recognize the elected officials who could be with us. So to begin, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Thomas LeGrand, Chairperson of the Dutchess Community College Board of Trustees, who will add his welcome to the college on behalf of his fellow trustees and the entire college community. Tom.
Thank you, Dr. Conklin, and welcome to all the attendees tonight. I am Tom LeGrand, and I have the honor and the privilege to be the chairman of the Dutchess Community College Board of Trustees. I want to offer a special thank you to my good friend, a DCC alumni, and our county executive, Marc Molinaro. Marc, it is a special honor for the college to have your State of the County address at Dutchess Community College. And I'd like to welcome the members of the county legislature that are here tonight. And I want to thank you and your chairman, Mr. Rob Rollison, who is also a valued member of my Board of Trustees, for your continued support of this important organization. For 58 years, Dutchess Community College has offered a high-quality, affordable education to all our students, both young and old. We are a friend of single moms who struggle to find a better life. And here at Dutchess Community College, not only do students get a quality education, but they get prepared for life and all of its challenges. In my view, as a taxpayer and someone who's been affiliated for the college for over 20 years, this is the best investment of county dollars, bar none. Our studies show that dollars spent on higher education benefit the community in many ways. Graduates have higher rates of long-term employment, more likely to find employment with health benefits, less likely to get in trouble with the law, less likely to put a burden on the social service system, and they're more likely to stay in their community. And a few examples of that is our county executive, Marcus Molinaro, our former county executive, Bill Steinhaus, Judge Christine Sproat, and County Attorney Jim Fedortek, just to name a few of the thousands that have walked through these doors and stayed and made our community a better place to live. We have a dedicated professional staff that goes over and above the call of duty on a daily basis to prepare these students for life. And one of the special things that I have about being chairman is I get letters of testimony from the parents of these students and from some of the students themselves saying how this organization or this professor or this instructor has reached out and changed that person's life forever. This is a special place, and we are fortunate to have it in our community. And under the leadership of Dr. Conklin, it is really a world-class college. I want to thank you, and I want to welcome you to Dutchess Community College, and thank you for attending.
We are joined tonight by a number of elected officials from all levels of government. And on behalf of all of us, I want to thank our elected officials for their service and for being here this evening. As I introduce our elected officials, I would ask that each stand and remain standing, and please hold your applause until all have been recognized. New York State Senator Terry Gibson, New York State Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett, Surrogate Court and Acting Supreme Court Judge James Pagonis, and our county-wide officials are Sheriff Adrian Butch Anderson, Comptroller Jim Coughlin, District Attorney William Grady, County Clerk Brad Kendall. We also have with us tonight former Congresswoman Dr. Nan Hayworth, and I would like to ask all of the members of the Dutchess County Legislature to please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, our elected officials. I would now ask Dutchess County Sheriff Adrian Butch Anderson to come to the stage for the presentation of the colors, and he will be joined by the leadership of the Dutchess County Legislature, Majority Leader Angela Flesland, Minority Leader Barbara Jeter Jackson, and Chairman Rob Rollison, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sergeant, present the colors.
Sheriff's color guard, advance the colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Detail, what up? Ho! Left, hey! Bring them out. Forward. Out. Out. 2, 3, 4. Out. Out. 3, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, the color guard of the men and women of the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Rabbi Hecht of the Rhinebeck Jewish Center, who will offer a prayer for the community. Rabbi Hecht.
Driving here this evening, I turned on the radio for a moment, and I heard that the lottery jackpot is $240 million. Now, don't run out to go buy tickets, but it did remind me of a very interesting story. The town Schlamazel, which is the town loser, had terrible, terrible luck. Everything he touched, he turned into the worst investments whatsoever. Finally, he told himself, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. This was back in the olden days when you couldn't just get an automatic number at the gas station. So he went ahead and started picking numbers. He picked the 4 numbers required, and guess what? They announced the winners, and sure enough, he wins. He wins a total of $1 million. The entire town gets together in the college, at the theater, to present him with the check. And they present him with the check, and they say, Town Schlamazel, town loser, how did you pull it off? He said, very simple. My mother taught me it's a little bit of math and a little bit of mazel, a little bit of luck. So, number one represents God. They picked the number 1. Then, 7 is a great number. It shows a full week, 7 colors to the rainbow. I'm going to pick the number 7. And since 7 is such a good number, 7 times 7 is 48, so I picked 48. So they said, Shlamazel, I don't understand. 7 times 7 is 49. He said, that's where the luck comes into play. Since it's considered a prayer for the community rather than the typical invocation, I'm going to share another story. A new family just moved into Millbrook. They bought themselves a magnificent estate, a horse farm on 250 acres. They have a child that's 8 years old, and they're going to send him to school. But they decide rather than to send him to a private school, they should send him to the school district, since we have such good school districts here in Dutchess County, and they send him to the local public school. The first day of school, they call him in. They say, listen, young Johnny, just know you can't stand out too much. If anybody asks you anything about you, say that you're very poor. Don't tell them that you're rich. It's going to be bad for you in school. Sure, if he goes to school the first day, goes really well. 2 weeks into school, the teacher decides to make a class and get together, and each student has to talk about themselves and their family. Comes to little Johnny's turn and gets up, and he says, my family, they're very poor. My driver is very poor. My butler, he's also very poor. The chef, oh, how poor he is. Ladies and gentlemen, God should bless us with such prosperity that we have to say that our butler, our driver, our chef, everything that we have is very poor. And hopefully, under the leadership of Marcus Molinaro, County Exec, we will truly come to this time that everybody has total prosperity to enjoy. Thank you.
And now it is my honor to introduce Ellen Nesbitt, Dutchess County Legislator for District 1 for the town of Poughkeepsie. This is the district within which Dutchess Community College is located, and fittingly, Ellen is a student at Dutchess Community College. Ellen?
Thank you, Dr. Conklin. And before I begin, I just want to recognize Orange County Executive Steve Newhouse. Steve, thank you for being here. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. As a student of Dutchess Community College and one of the newest members of the Dutchess County Legislature, the mission of Dutchess County government is paramount to all I do. The mission of Dutchess County government is to provide quality, responsive services to the residents, businesses, and visitors in a fiscally responsible manner, while striving to preserve our heritage, promote economic development, and enhance the quality of life for current and future generations. In this difficult economic environment, we are all facing tough challenges. Yet, Dutchess County government is working diligently to fulfill its mission to you through the delivery of critical services that impact people's lives. Let's take a quick look at how your county government is striving to make a positive difference every day.
Rising up in the morning, we find the meaning of community in Dutchess County. This winter has been one for the record books, with the weather keeping the county busy. The tireless work of county employees has ensured all essential services have been available to residents. County highway crews worked long hours to keep the roads open, making sure people could get to work and where they needed to go.
Probably the worst snowfall of the year, so I thought it would be a really great time to go out and see how hard these guys work.
Get people home safely, get them to work safely? Absolutely.
911 dispatchers and first responders have been there to answer emergency calls and ensure public safety.
Dutchess 911, what is the address of the emergency?
The work of county government continues every day with a commitment to providing quality services to our residents. Our community is made up of people who serve others. At the heart of it all, we take care of each other.
So good to see you.
You too. How are you doing?
The Office for the Aging provides an array of community-based services for the elderly to promote independence, dignity, and quality of life.
I have always liked to do for myself. I'd like to do it as long as I can.
Senior friendship centers across the county provide transportation and daily activities to our parents, grandparents, and friends. Hundreds of meals a day are prepared and delivered by volunteers throughout Dutchess County to seniors who are homebound.
Thank you. I didn't expect you to come today.
I didn't expect to get
because this weather was bad.
In our community, county services are making a difference in people's lives. Today, Lily Andrews is working with her vision therapist, John Kelly, a resource provided by the Department of Health's Early Intervention Program.
It was broken and you fixed it. I know, you're so good at that.
My daughter Lily was born at 25 weeks. She was going to have delays because she was born, 4 months early. She was definitely in need of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. She gets orientation and mobility, and she's learning Braille, she's learning to use a cane, and she's already so much further than where the doctors had thought she'd ever be. And I honestly owe it all to early intervention.
Looking to the future, agency partnership grants provide young people training in 21st century skills that will help them succeed in our community. In the village of Millerton, the Northeast Community Center has been awarded an agency partnership grant to expand its job mentorship program. Teenagers learn job preparedness skills and work at local businesses.
Have the opportunity to attend workshops where they write resumes and do mock interviewing, but then they also do real interviewing.
I've learned how you need to dress to go to an interview, how your resume should be. I just feel more needed, and I like helping people.
We are creating positions that do not otherwise exist.
Our young adults are getting a quality education on the campus of one of the most dynamic two-year colleges in the country.
I was looking for somewhere along the lines of a film program, and the communications program here it was perfect for me. For the lowest tuition, it's pretty amazing. I'm not paying much, I'm getting a great education, and it's at a great place.
Students enter the workforce better prepared, and local businesses are making a conscious effort to stay in Dutchess County, like Taylor Manufacturing, with a facility in Poughkeepsie and North Carolina.
Taylor Manufacturing has been based here in Dutchess County for years. They own property in the Carolinas, and they have decided, because they need to expand, that they're going to sell their property in the Carolinas and expand here in Dutchess County. Yes, you can do manufacturing here in Dutchess County, so we can show others you can do it here too.
County partnerships with local governments are improving efficiencies and reducing costs. The Dutchess County's Municipal Consolidation and Shared Services Grant Program funds upgrades to the Tri-Municipal Wastewater Treatment System and the Firehouse Consolidation Plan in Beacon.
The idea of consolidation used properly in the right circumstances is a good thing. It can lead to higher efficiency, and it will do that in this case.
In all of government, to be more efficient, we have to look for ways to consolidate to save taxpayers' money, but still provide the people with efficient and safe services.
Honoring the Buffalo soldiers of his ancestry, Vietnam veteran James Haywood is decorated with medals long thought lost. Dutchess County Veteran Services ensures our county veterans and their families receive all of the benefits they are entitled to for their dedicated military service. Whether it is assistance with health care benefits or obtaining long overdue medals, we are here to serve. Working together, our community thrives. Taking time for fun and recreation adds to the fullness of our lives. Our county parks provide endless hours of enjoyment for families and friends.
Motor Park is the best hill for sledding.
Yeah, it really is.
At the end of the day, we realize all of these sights and sounds define who we are, the character of our people, the beauty of our environment, and the critical services provided by Dutchess County government on a daily basis. All help to create this great community we call home, a community you help serve. Our community, Dutchess County.
A great reminder of the services provided each and every day, and those were just a few highlights. Tonight we'll hear more about the work being done to preserve core services and make Dutchess County an attractive community for my generation and many generations to come. It is now my pleasure to introduce our Dutchess County Executive, Marc Molinaro, for the 2014 State of the County Address.
Would you join me again in thanking Ellen? She's been a great addition to the legislature. There was a time that I was a young elected official. There was a time, about 20 years ago. I want to thank you and welcome you to the 2014 State of the County Address and here at Dutchess Community College. If you wouldn't mind joining me in thanking the men and women behind the scenes, both from our office but also from Dutchess here at Dutchess Community College for making this presentation come together today. And thank you, Tom and Dr. Conklin. We appreciate all of your help. I told my son that I was going to be giving a speech in a theater, and he said to me this morning that in order to get into a theater you need a ticket. So he made this ticket for me. I haven't checked in yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be here. I haven't found a seat yet, but it reminded me certainly and how important the work that we do really is. The video that you saw really highlights the dedicated men and women who work and serve Dutchess County, its government, and its people. But everyone in this room, all, I don't know, 1,400 of you, I was exaggerating. All of you in this room in one way or another serve to make this community great. Each of you contributes to its success. Each of you has been a part of its robust and rich past. And each of you, if we can at times tone down the noise and focus directly on caring for one another, each of you can be a part of making Dutchess County the best it can be for this generation and the generations that follow. My son and my daughter depend on the work that we do. And I was reminded that those 20 years ago when I started as an elected official, there was a passion that drove me to service. A real deep concern for the people who lived in the village of Tivoli, and at times, and certainly over the last couple of months, that passion, that desire, that drive could be tempered just a little bit. But it's these moments where we're supposed to take stock of who we are and how we hope to live. It's these moments where we're supposed to put aside party differences, personal backgrounds, who's running for what when, and focus clearly on the people who are struggling in our county. We've asked a lot of them, but I love this job, and I ran for it because I wanted to make a difference. And the men and women of the Dutchess County Legislature, led by its chairman, Rob Rollison, Sheriff Butch Anderson, our County Comptroller, Jim Coughlin, District Attorney Bill Grady, County Clerk Brad Kendall, and so many others have committed to service to make a difference in this community. There are 20 town supervisors, 8 village and 2 city mayors, countless business leaders, community advocates, and this county's 1,700 dedicated employees who all recognize the need to build on the past, improve our current condition, and bring about the great Dutchess County comeback. I thank all of you, for your service and dedication. You deserve a round of applause. You have given so much. The county charter requires I give a State of the County address. I argued that I know that some of you, in fact the sheriff knows this, I kind of like to stand behind a podium and talk into a microphone. I know that you might find that to be a surprise. But the truth of the matter is, this is the least effective way I can deliver the state of our county, and it's also not the way I feel most comfortable doing it. For 12 years, I served as a village mayor. I served in a very personal way. I prefer delivering to you the state of the county at the grocery store, or at the diner, at Dunkin' Donuts, or maybe at a town hall meeting. I prefer doing it where it's most comfortable for you. Because the promise that I made when I came into office was to create a county government that was accountable and responsive to you. At times you'll see our warts. At times you'll see our mistakes. At times you will want to scream. But I want a government that reacts to that is open to that all of us who hold office in this county understand that it is your ideas, your beliefs, your concerns, and yes, your criticisms that are supposed to drive us, and never, ever lose that. So pardon me for the PowerPoint and the podium, but over the course of the next few weeks, over the course of the next months, and yes, over the next year and a half that I have to serve with this honor as your county executive, we're going to every house, we're going to every community, we're going to every neighborhood, and we're going to explain the state of our county, which is fragile. And while there are some who believe that the recession is over, in this county, too many people can point to specific challenges that they face. I can assure you there are promising specifics, but Dutchess County and its residents continue to face recessionary conditions. The Department of Community and Family Services has seen its caseload increase 70% since 2007. Calls to the Department of Mental Hygiene's 24/7 helpline are up 46% since 2007, with the types of calls coming in becoming more and more severe in nature. The stress is on all of us. While unemployment shows a slight rebound, the future of our largest private sector employer remains uncertain, and too many Dutchess County families are struggling to get back to work. The county's tax base continues to shrink, down nearly $9 billion since 2008. Makes you wonder why I want to stand in front of you, give you all this great news. County government, though, has been able to somewhat shield residents and taxpayers from the brunt of the recession's impact on county services. We've done so by cutting back on operational spending, consolidating, and finding greater efficiencies through technology and shared services. But now the budget options we have before us are distasteful and unpopular. Last year, through consolidation and reorganization of departments and services, we reduced our workforce by 103 positions, making us the smallest in over 30 years, saving $6.8 million annually and $38 million over the next 5 years. While we continue to deliver new efficiencies, consolidations, and cost savings, we will not make irresponsible decisions only to undermine the quality and character of our community. Some believe that it's okay to exaggerate revenue and under-project expenditures. Some believe it's okay to merely speak in hollow rhetoric, to suggest that problems can be solved by waving a wand. They can't. The challenges that face this government is not greater in any means than the challenge facing individual families and businesses throughout Dutchess County. But I can assure you this. This county government will not pass the buck, and I will take responsibility for the decisions I have to make. I ask of you this. Take responsibility with us. Work together as a community to confront the great challenges that face us, and do not allow the politics and the rhetoric of the day to distract us from the heavy lifting that must occur. Instead, we have to roll up our sleeves, get to work, and lead, committing ourselves to fulfill a mission to preserve our heritage, promote economic development, and enhance the quality of life for current and future generations. Now, in 2012, I inherited a county budget the previous administration balanced by using a one-time revenue measure. The nearly $27 million appropriation of fund balance virtually wiped out our reserves. This contributed to a bond rating downgrade. The use of fund balance is sort of like using your entire savings account to pay for your bills without actually driving down your cost. In their bond rating review, Moody's stressed the need for Dutchess County to rebuild its fund balance and expand its tax base. Of course. The state comptroller and rating agencies recommend we maintain a fund balance of 5 to 10% of the total budget. The need for an appropriate level of savings couldn't be any more clear this winter. It's to manage cash flow, protect against unforeseen expenses, loss of revenue, and respond to man-made or natural emergencies. That's why it is important we focus on fiscal stability, and the 2014 budget does not use any general fund balance to offset an initial $27 million gap. Believe me, that would have been the easy way, and we would have preferred some fund balance. But what's critical is that we ensure fiscal security for the county. This is a $400 million business with 1,700 employees, and all of you as taxpayers demand that we have a government that functions effectively and efficiently and keeps in mind its short-term and long-term financial security. Maintaining a strong bond rating and adequate fund balance is critical to this county's fiscal security. In order to balance the budget, the county did ask for alternative revenues, but needed state approval for those to be enacted. Those requests were denied. So we move on, confronting historical rates of spending and taxation while preserving core services without one-shot revenue options, use of budget gimmicks, or help from Albany, left us with tough choices and distasteful options. With no reserves and no additional assistance from Albany, we cut jobs, we cut departments, we cut programs, and we cut dollars, a lot of them. As we confronted this challenge for 2014, we cut expenses by $3.9 million, reduced our debt payments, and eliminated another 7.6 positions. Our goal then, in all of this, bend the curve in spending and tax growth. Continue to reduce spending, create a more efficient and effective organization, and stop unsustainable property tax increases. Achieving this goal responsibly takes time, and I appreciate you'd like it to move a lot quicker. But we are making progress, significant progress. This county has been fortunate to have great and dedicated individuals committed to serving, committed to managing, and committed to overseeing our county's finances. At this point, I'd like to extend our thanks and appreciation to the Department of Finance Commissioner Pam Barrick for her years of dedicated service to the people of Dutchess County. She will retire this May, and Pam, we are thankful for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Pam. This is my favorite chart. 70%, have you heard this before? 70% of net county costs are mandated by the state and federal government. And while that mandate continues to push down on us, core county programs and services are being crowded out. Now, I recognize and believe that government can't be all things to all people, but this county government must be able to fulfill its core mission for its people. We must continue providing those critical services our families, friends, and neighbors depend on. So I'd like to make a suggestion. Instead of expecting us, county governments and local taxpayers, to carry their burden, I suggest Albany and Washington pay for their programs. And since they haven't, Dutchess County was put in a difficult position and was forced to pick among unpopular decisions in order to balance the 2014 budget. This is my least favorite slide. The Poughkeepsie Journal described the 2014 budget as responsible, yet painful. Acting responsibly is an expectation we should all have of our government. But I recognize the pain just doesn't seem to get any better. Running a county government, running any government like a business, requires we make tough choices. And I don't have any intention from running from them. I believe that we have to work together to confront the challenges that face us. And I believe that we've created a government that is open to all of you. So we accept the criticism. In fact, we welcome it. Anyone in elected office who thinks they can hide from criticism is making a mistake. In fact, it is that kind of challenge, that criticism, that pressure placed on those of us who are accountable to each and every taxpayer, it's that criticism that holds us accountable, that keeps us honest, and makes us believe that there is still opportunity, there is still a chance to make a difference, and that by keeping the pressure on government, government will respond effectively. So I've listened to the phone calls, I've taken the letters, and I Despite every commitment not to read the paper from time to time, read it. Every call, every email, every letter coming into our office has been responded to. But more importantly than that, and I challenge everyone else who holds elected office, we've listened. We've listened carefully, knowing that the challenges that we face and the pressure placed on residents needs to be confronted. We're all in this together. I sacrifice like you do. Our families sacrifice like yours. And we are committed to improving our condition and making things better. The repeal of a 1974 sales tax exemption on residential energy costs is unwanted. It is, by every account, unpopular. But I stand before you today with a pledge. I will do everything in my power to eliminate this tax. There was a reason we chose the path we chose. Do not let the pressure off the backs of the decision makers. Do not roll tax increases into property taxes because it's unsustainable. The history has shown that. The pressure on the business community, the pressure on economic development is keeping us from rebounding. Keep the pressure on elected officials, hold us accountable, demand that every dollar be spent effectively, and ask for us to respond. Don't hide from it. Make sure the public understands that we will make the difficult choices, and the only way through these challenges is to stand face forward, be honest, and responsive to the people. And that is the commitment I made coming into office and will uphold every day you've given me this honor. Now we do have a strategy. That's probably not surprising to you. We have a strategy to accomplish this and provide greater tax relief. Advocate for mandate relief, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Transform local government. Yes, change the way government functions and incentivize economic growth. It is time for a great rebound. Now, without relief from oppressive mandates, we will never achieve the government we are owed. Bless you. And gesundheit. So why do I say this? Every aspect of what we do in county government is impacted by some decision or mandate from Albany. I'm not placing blame. And it occurred to me that mandate sounds like a term that you use as a scapegoat. I'm not doing that either. Every aspect of what we do in county government is impacted by some decision someone in Albany or Washington makes. Everything. There is no way for us to freely and effectively provide your core services without going through processes and procedures and jumping through hoops that make it more difficult. We're not asking for anything special. We're just saying that when another layer of government makes the decisions and sets the parameters for a service they then force someone else to pay for, it becomes ripe for waste, fraud, and abuse. And it's this lack of accountability that must be addressed. It must be addressed in order to get the government you deserve. So we talk a lot about mandates in broad terms, and I realize that some think we should talk more about it. Other people have said I should talk less about it. But I'd like to talk specifically about one example. Mandated special education preschool for children under the age of 5. The state constitution requires that New York provide a public education to every child. In order to prepare those young people with special needs to enter into public education, we employ both the early intervention services that you saw in the video as part of a public health expense and preschool special education, which is a public education requirement, having nothing to do with county government. I have been blessed every day to be challenged by a now 9-year-old little girl who has benefited from special education preschool. She would not be prepared to enter the Red Oak Central School District were it not for St. Francis Preschool. Preparing her to enter the schools, preparing her and carrying her through now 4th grade. Every child with any level of need deserves that kind of assistance. But why are counties paying the bill? According to the New York State Association of Counties, local governments, including New York City, will pay $2 billion for this state program, with Dutchess County charged $7 million. Beyond the fiscal impacts to the counties, the current structure has created a divide, causing great disparity between those children with and without special needs. The state legislature and the governor are now considering universal pre-kindergarten at the request of the mayor of New York. This is our opportunity to finally get it right. Integrate special education preschool with preschool. And more importantly than that, integrate special education with public education, not public health. By taking back the cost of special education preschool, New York State would pay for the program, address a division in service, and enable Dutchess County government to restore the sales tax exemption on residential energy sources. Yes, the savings would go back to you. And I'd like to thank and acknowledge Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett for presenting our case to the Assembly majority. Dee Dee, thank you for that. If the state is going to open the door to discussing and providing special education's universal pre-kindergarten for every child in the state deserves it, including my daughter and the kids like her. This is a public education need that results in tax relief for all of you. Now, if Albany did this or provided relief from any number of other unfunded mandates, we would guarantee tax relief, and I'd offer one other thing. We'd extend to the governor and state legislature all the credit. I'm not looking for a press release or a photograph. Instead, we'd even highlight it all on your property tax bill to tell you thank you for getting this done. Now listen, there are some who have suggested to me I should stop talking about mandates. It's like continuing to get beat up by a bully and just saying to the bully, okay, thanks for hitting me, I'll come back tomorrow. But we can't. And we won't because we are committed to this fight. And so are our state legislators. Senators Terry Gibson and Greg Ball, Terry, thank you for being here, have made this their priority. Assembly members Dee Dee Barrett, Kevin Cahill, Frank Skartatos, and Kieran Lawler have made this their priority, fighting for mandate relief. Each has sponsored specific relief proposals, and we thank them for that. These, along with other measures, would enable us to eliminate the sales tax on residential energy and cut property taxes. They need to be adopted. So in the weeks ahead, we will continue our advocacy efforts. We will be calling, emailing, and letting residents know when and how to help to get these bills passed. If we are to get relief, they have to get it done. We have to advocate. And we will continue to motivate state legislative leaders to pay attention to these proposals, ladies and gentlemen, your proposals, and help our state representatives get the bills adopted. Now, since 2012, over every objection in my body, I personally returned to Albany to lobby for relief and assistance with some success. And I'd like to thank specifically Senator Greg Ball for his help in funding mental health services in Dutchess County. This year, I was asked by NYSAC, New York State Association of Counties, to lead our statewide effort for special education preschool relief and realignment. And again, Dee Dee, thank you for your assistance. Last month, I testified on behalf of NYSAC on this and other mandate relief proposals, and tomorrow I will lead Dutchess County's delegation at Senator Ball's Mandate Relief Lobby Day. Dutchess County is aggressively focused on mandate relief because it is our path to tax relief and government reform. With immense fiscal challenges, the stress so many in our community face, and a struggling economy, we are committed to making government smaller, smarter, and more successful. From the reorganization and consolidation of departments to making funding competitive and incentivizing shared services, our multi-year transformation of county government is taking hold and making a difference. The first round of our agency partner grant program was a success. Over 18 organizations applied, with 10 receiving funds for projects to improve life in our community. This year's round of grant applications are currently under review, with 17 agencies applying for just over $700,000. The competitive grant program converted our process of funding services through not-for-profits from sort of this member item approach that used to go on, doesn't go on any longer in Albany, or earmarks, the way they used to do it in the federal government, to an outcome-based competitive grant, enhancing accountability and maximizing the benefit of each tax dollar granted to any agency. I'd like to extend our thanks to the Community Development Advisory Committee, its chairwoman, Town of Red Oak Supervisor Sue Crane, the staff of the Department of Planning and Development, and the Dutchess County Coalition of Not-for-Profits for their support, cooperation, and effort. Thank you for the work that you've done. We appreciate it. Someone else in county government who has dedicated her life to serving and really is a Dutchess County success story, the commissioner of our Department of Planning and Development, Keely Solomon, is retiring this year. And Keely, we'd like to extend our thanks and appreciation to you as well. You have made an impact on the life of this community. Now, in light of changes in health insurance, the Federal Affordable Care Act, the state closure of psychiatric centers in our county, reduction in mental health beds at St. Francis Hospital, and the high cost of our mental hygiene department, last year we announced we would seek to create a more cost-effective and integrated delivery of public and behavioral health services. St. Francis Hospital's bankruptcy and its purchase by Westchester Medical Center, along with the uncertainty of federal and state funding streams, an increase in suicides, and crisis in chemical dependency, make it critical that we integrate our health and mental hygiene departments. By aligning their efforts with the work of the Department of Community and Family Services and Emergency Response, along with the great work of Imagine Dutchess, the next chapter of healthcare in our county can revolutionize the way we confront public and mental health. Thanks to the Dyson Foundation last year, we engaged the Center for Government Research to help determine the feasibility of merging the two departments. CGR's final report establishes a baseline of current services and presents a spectrum of options ranging from the status quo to full merger of the two departments under a single commissioner. CGR ultimately recommends just that. Consolidate the departments under a single commissioner. Now, with the unanimous endorsement from our Health and Human Services Advisory Team, this is a group of individuals we pulled together 2 years ago, external to county government, experts in the field of health and mental health, to review the proposal, and they have unanimously endorsed this concept. We intend to carefully proceed with this proposal. It is critically important that we save mental health services in this county. It is critically important that we take mental illness out of the shadows and bring it full forward, in fact, front stage, in a community that is in desperate need of that assistance. It is critical that the individuals in our county who deal every day with mental illness have the support, the service, and the dignity that they deserve. And bringing it forward will help us to accomplish just that. As expensive as it is necessary to find efficiencies and obviously to drive down costs. But what is more critical, and most critical to me, is that this county confront mental illness with the same strength, the same commitment, and the same dedication as it does public health. And I have to tell you, every aspect of Dutchess County, every family, every neighborhood is impacted by mental health issues. And I am personally, as we are all, grateful to Commissioners Ken Glatt of the Department of Mental Hygiene and Dr. Ken Glatt and Dr. Kari Reber from the Department of Health. Ladies and gentlemen, they do wonderful work. And they too are committed to ensuring that we get the best out of this proposal and create the most responsive department we can to meet the public health needs of Dutchess County. Now, long before I became county executive, the size and outdated nature of our jail facility had been the source of excess cost and much concern. In fact, I think we were responsible, the issue of jail housing out, responsible for a number of very thick publications of the Poughkeepsie Journal and Daily Freeman, the number of stories that were written about this county jail. Today, our jail budget is over $40 million, and we employ 233 corrections officers. Our total number of inmates incarcerated, though, is less than the national and state average. However, due to a lack of capacity, we must house out inmates in county jails across New York. On any given day, over 200 inmates, above the 250 already in our jail facility, housed out in counties across the state. And with those inmates goes your tax dollars. The cost of housing inmates out in other counties has climbed to $8.2 million a year. Housing out is detrimental to the inmates and their families. Housing out weakens our criminal justice system, threatens our fiscal security and public safety, and it wastes your tax dollars. Housing out of inmates is not a solution. It is the avoidance of a solution. It is time we expand the size of our jail, drastically improve the ratio of COs to inmates, and do so by designing and building a facility with the right beds for the specific inmate populations we house today and project to house in the foreseeable future. To accomplish this, in 2012, the Criminal Justice Council completed an assessment making clear our solution to lack of jail space required a two-track approach. Build new capacity and drive down inmate population with alternatives to incarceration. You'll excuse me for wishing, I have to say God bless you to Joel Tyner because I said God bless you to Rob Weiss and I wanted to be bipartisan in my... I know Joel was already ready to tweet. Molinaro didn't say bless you. It's a Republican conspiracy. That's it. God bless all of you. And you're desperate to clap for me, I can tell. And in 2012, the Criminal Justice Council completed this assessment. They presented a two-track approach, build a new capacity, and drive down inmate population with alternatives to incarceration. Now, central to any solution is having inmates housed back in Dutchess County. By doing so, we can speed up the judicial process, prepare inmates to successfully return to the community, and reduce recidivism. In order to accomplish this, in the short term, installation of temporary housing pods on the existing jail site will achieve this goal and save $1 million tax dollars annually. I am pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with the State of New York Commission on Corrections to proceed with the installation of these pods upon county legislative approval. And please. And I want to extend my personal thanks. This is the agreement signed today by Sheriff Butch Anderson and the county executive, working together to solve a problem. And I'm grateful for that, Butch. Chairman Rob Rollison, Butch Anderson, and I ventured off to Albany to make the case. But just the concept of us traveling together, stopping for a cup of coffee together, serving together, meeting around a table together with one message. It is time Dutchess County stop talking about the problem, solve it, and move on. With bipartisan support last July, we moved forward with the next phase of our work. We did eliminate, I know Todd Tancredi's here, we eliminated the Hudson River Psychiatric Center from possible jail expansion sites. This facilitated its sale to a developer working with the town of Poughkeepsie to make a substantial private investment. And subsequent to that, in December, we reached agreement to purchase property adjacent to our current jail, enabling expansion on that current site. In a 24-1 vote, the legislature overwhelmingly approved purchasing the property needed to expand jail capacity. I'm thankful to all of you, every member of the county legislature, even the one, for joining us in committing to solve this important problem. Once environmental assessments are completed, we will begin the project definition phase as we discussed. Now, our commitment is twofold. We have a commitment and a promise to the city of Poughkeepsie, which we intend to adhere to, and to all county taxpayers. The commitment to city of Poughkeepsie and county taxpayers is to define and develop a facility with adequate space to house all inmates, a campus to include inmate programs and other criminal justice services in a continuum of incarceration to help inmates reenter the community and drive down recidivism. A campus sensitive to the community and its immediate neighborhood. A mixed-use site where public and private space is created, conforming with the greater walkway and City of Poughkeepsie zoning and land use expectations. Our jail, albeit a large and broken component of our criminal justice system, is, though, only one component. Currently, nearly 600 individuals are in alternative programs, and approximately 2,500 others are supervised through the county's Department of Probation. Dutchess County is committed to other critical efforts to curb inmate population growth and successfully promote alternatives to incarceration. I'd like to extend my thanks on behalf of the county to Mary Ellen Still, our Director of Probation and Community Corrections and Chair of the Criminal Justice Council, for her efforts to drive down recidivism and make our robust ATI programs even more successful. Mary Ellen, thank you. Our work in criminal justice can't just focus on the criminal, and I appreciate that we must focus on that end of the system as well. But we must also be responsive to all those in the community that feel, and rightfully so, that local human rights deserve greater attention. To further this effort, we are appointing a Dutchess County Human Rights Officer. Currently, we have in county government an equal employment opportunity and affirmative action position that handles complaints on discrimination and harassment within the county workforce. This position will be expanded to assist with those human rights complaints throughout the county. He will help with filing complaints, ensure access to appropriate state and federal resources, and assist with required paperwork and follow-up. I'd like to thank our Equal Employment Opportunity Officer, Curtis Forbes, who will now serve also as Dutchess County's Human Rights Officer. Curtis is here. Thank you, Curtis, as well. To assist in our efforts, we will also create a Diversity Advisory Board. This board will provide input and feedback on the work of the Human Rights Officer and assist the county in efforts to more greatly diversify our workforce. Civil service governs the hiring practices of all municipalities. And when we recruit for positions or hold civil service exams, there is often low participation from members of the minority communities. We wish to confront that. So I'd like to extend my thanks to the Northern Dutchess NAACP President, Eloise Moxie, and County Legislator Barbara Jeter Jackson for taking the steps and keeping us accountable and making this come to fruition. Thank you, Barbara. She's going to keep our feet to the fire. Is Miss Eloise here? She's not. Miss Eloise has really committed a great number of now years to filling in with the absence of a human rights officer in Dutchess County. She's done a wonderful job, and we're very, very thankful. And if you wouldn't mind, anytime you see her, just ask her for a bit of carrot cake, best carrot cake in the world. I don't want to be accused of pay for play, but she did bring us a carrot cake to the office, and I enjoyed every bite of it. The tragic events that took place in Pleasant Valley this past November, leaving 2 children and 2 parents dead, is a horrific reminder that domestic violence can strike any time, any place, and in the most heinous way. Dutchess County continues to focus on this critical issue, and rightfully so. Our collaboration with the District Attorney, Sheriff's Office, the Department of Community and Family Services, Grace Smith House, and Family Services, Inc., has never been stronger. Through their coordination and their hard work, victims can access assistance and shelter, while law enforcement is able to better prosecute and hold accountable those who abuse. In its October 2013 report, the County Legislature's Citizen Advisory Committee on Domestic Violence identifies gaps in services that state assistance can help address. With domestic violence 911 calls averaging about 13 per day, we must continue our efforts. We have asked for continued state funding assistance to accomplish this goal, and I again am grateful to Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett for taking up the call. Of particular importance is the Grace Smith House Teen Violence Initiative and our own home visit program. One sheds light on violence in teen relationships, and there is great violence in teen relationships. The other has greatly improved law enforcement's interaction with victims of domestic violence, helping to keep them safe. Funding is necessary to keep these optional programs alive, and we intend to advocate for it. Leading that charge have been great community leaders, and I'd like to thank for their efforts to help curb domestic violence District Attorney Bill Grady, Sheriff Butch Anderson, and also County Legislator Donna Bollner. Along with them, Brian Doyle from Family Services and Renee Follett from the Grace Smith House. Thank you all for your advocacy and support. Another program we like to highlight is GREAT. I mean, it's great. No, it's great. That's a bad joke. Programs like GREAT have been long-standing successes in Dutchess County as we focus efforts on reducing gang activity, drug abuse, and youth violence in our community. Using a strength-based approach, specific components of GREAT will be incorporated into Catherine Street Community Center's Summer Enrichment Program. This partnership demonstrates the positive relationships that can exist between criminal justice and community agencies, diminishing the attractiveness of gangs and reducing county costs for juvenile detention. For generations, Catherine Street has been changing lives for the better, and Shirley Adams has been at the forefront. Shirley, thank you for all you have done. This community is made better because of your service. With the work of Catherine Street and Shirley's leadership as the precursor and the work of our own youth board as a foundation, I propose a new approach to addressing the needs and challenges facing our young people by creating the Dutchess County Youth Board and Coordinating Council. Modeled after the successful Criminal Justice Council, we will bring together the best and brightest of our stakeholders and unleash the talent and experience found throughout those agencies and organizations serving our kids. Its mission will be to strengthen community and family interaction with our young people in an effort to prevent crime, improve quality of life, and empower young people to lead productive lives and achieve greater success for themselves and their family. By repurposing our youth board, the Coordinating Council will bring together representatives from government, not-for-profit, businesses, our faith-based community, and educational institutions. The council will examine community risk factors, study best practices from other communities, and develop strategies to better address the challenges facing young people today. Additionally, I will ask the council to develop community coalitions throughout Dutchess County. By empowering local volunteers, local communities, local neighborhoods, and local families in each region, we can more effectively engage the community and empower our young people. Brian Doyle from Family Services, Kathleen Murphy from the Center for Child Abuse Prevention, Commissioner Bob Allers, and legislators Marge Horton of East Fishkill and April Farley of Beacon will help to shape the council's mission and select its members. Please join me in thanking all of them for their commitment. This is a critical effort. Our community cannot forget about those young people who are living in fear, living in violent situations, living just outside the reach of hope. It was the reason I entered into public service in 1994, because my community wasn't paying attention to the needs of its kids. And it is the responsibility of this county, not the government, but the county as a family, to confront it together. They will focus on teen violence, gang activity, child abuse, and exploitation, as well as our growing drug addiction problem. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. Drug overdose death rates in the United States have more than tripled since 1990. The number of fatalities in Dutchess County due to a drug overdose mirror those national trends. Working along with legislators Angela Flesland and Ken Roman, our health and mental hygiene departments are collaborating with CAPE, the Coalition for Addiction and Prevention Education, to conduct forums to generate awareness and dialogue between parents, young people, law enforcement, and service providers. Now, of course, forums alone are not enough. So internally, we formed a task force bringing together the Departments of Health, Mental Hygiene, and Community and Family Services to coordinate the county's response to drug abuse. This task force, led by our Health and Human Services Cabinet and its chair, Mary Kay Dolan, outlined a work plan for key county and community stakeholders to enhance communications, coordinate activities, and implement a comprehensive response. Our campaign will include the new Youth Coordinating Council and seek to engage families, schools, faith-based organizations, and our not-for-profits. I thank all those who have focused on this epidemic and our intervention and prevention efforts so that together we can save lives. Please join me in thanking Legislator Angela Flesland for spearheading this important effort on behalf of county government. you've heard me say this before, but government structure in New York hasn't changed much over the last 200 years. It relies on the same rules and expectations, delivers many of the same outcomes, if we even know what those outcomes are, and there yet is just so much more of it. As Governor Cuomo points out, there are 10,500 different government layers in the state of New York. 327 of them are found in Dutchess County. I suggest reducing that number and returning more tax dollars to our taxpayers. In its first year, our Municipal Consolidation and Shared Services Grant Program was a success and has garnered attention throughout the state. Together with the legislature, we set aside $2 million for municipalities to consolidate and or share services. In 2014, we continue the program, but we will add a new top priority: the outright dissolution of a division, layer, or jurisdiction of government. We will continue funding shared services and consolidation, but we'll give priority to those projects that save taxpayer money by eliminating an entire government entity. And now this year, additionally, we will consider applications from special districts, such as fire and library districts, seeking to consolidate and or dissolve. Ladies and gentlemen, I know the ideas are out there. I know that the desire to do this exists, and it is time we put our commitment to the test. We have too many layers of government. There are too many redundant approval processes. There is too much duplication, and it is time to reduce it in Dutchess County. And the supervisors and mayors of Dutchess County have been working hard. They know the challenge, and we want to help. We've learned so much from one another over these past 2 years, and we have more to gain. Several supervisors made a recommendation that we're announcing today, and I'd like to thank Aileen Rohr from Hyde Park, Dave Kelly from Pauling, Todd Tancredi from Poughkeepsie, Bob Lacola from Fishkill, Randy Casal, Dutchess County's mayor, the mayor of Beacon, and John Merwin from Millerton. They suggested, and this year we will convene a consolidation and shared services summit to implement best practices, provide an update on grant projects, and discuss areas of greater consolidation. We will all be in the room together, talking about how to drive down cost, talking about the ways to implement consolidation, and we will deliver a result to the taxpayers. You deserve it. Now, the county seeks to partner in every way possible. Last year, our Shared Services Director, Chris Barkley, set out on a mission to meet with every supervisor, mayor, and nonprofit executive who would open their door. He explained and marketed our shared services opportunities and solicited ideas for more. We listened to you and have responded, adding to what we provide, all of which can conveniently be found on our redesigned, nationally awarded website. Number 2 to some little place in Virginia, if you can imagine that. Second best in the nation. Thanks. The team at the Office for Central and Information Services, under its commissioner's leadership, Tim Mahler, will continue to expand, promote, and provide our county's shared services. We are the centralization of service. Lean on us. Let us help you drive down your cost. Let us wring out greater efficiencies, and let's produce a better product for the taxpayer. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Chris, and all of you at OCIS for your work. Thank you. Tourism and agriculture are the largest components of our economic engine. Our farms and attractions draw hundreds of thousands of visitors. The same components and beauty that make Dutchess County a great place to live also make us a great place to visit. In 2013, New York's tourism industry generated $7.7 billion in state and local taxes and added 25,000 jobs. In Dutchess County, visitors spent over $400 million. It remains the fastest growing sector of our economy. This past September, the Hudson Valley Food and Wine Festival held at Rhinebeck Fairgrounds attracted more than 18,000 visitors, including hundreds on a special train from New York City, a train from New York City. How they were able to get from Grand Central to Rhinecliff, I'll never know, but they pulled it off. Don't look for that ticket when you go down to Grand Central, but you may someday soon. Yeah, I know, I should get going, right? Over the last year, tourism venues in Dutchess have expanded with the establishment of new agribusinesses such as Crown Maple, Dutch Spirits, Millbrook Distillery, and Dutchess Hops. This year, Dutchess County Tourism will continue to brand Dutchess County as a distinct destination and setting a goal to increase visitation by 10%. I know we can hit this and exceed that 10% thanks to the efforts of the Dutchess County Tourism Promotion Agency and its leader, Mary Kay Verba. Mary Kay, thank you for your service. From unparalleled natural resources and arts venues to amazing historic sites and farms, from our rail trails to a walkway over the Hudson, from baseball to the largest agricultural fair in the state, tourism in Dutchess generates millions of dollars and thousands of jobs. As we fight off the effect of this lagging economy, tourism continues to lead the way. Previously, I announced the For Our Future Economic Development Plan to reform, retain, reinvest, and recruit, and an alliance of our economic development entities as part of our first ever economic development strategy for the county. Our Deputy Commissioner of Strategic Planning and Economic Development, Ron Hicks, has been working diligently on that strategy, which includes assessment of our economy and 6 new programs with goals, specific goals, objectives, and action plans to advance and diversify our economy, and we must diversify our economy. 71% of new jobs are created by small businesses. Of those, 73% are sole proprietors and 52% are home-based. What does this all mean? It means your neighbor is more likely to create a new job in our community than any large corporation, making small businesses, the heart of our local economy and the best bet for future growth. The most important component of our economic development strategy is a business retention and expansion program. This requires business surveys and creating a database of all businesses. And just like you would do in an emergency, and we have an emergency, we determine those most at risk and then strategically target and assist them. The second, an expedited permitting and review process. One of the greatest obstacles facing any business expansion or the attraction of a business in the Northeast is the protracted and duplicative permitting and review process. While the county has limited control over federal, state, and local regulatory agencies, we can lead by example and solicit government partners to partner with us to attract jobs and new investment. Now, the 3 county departments with permitting and review authority are the Departments of Health, the Department of Public Works, and Department of Planning and Development. Each is unique with their own mission and obligations. Yet, in too many ways, they operate independently, unfortunately, leaving some important projects with unnecessary layers of red tape. A consolidated and expedited permitting process will enable a project that creates good-paying jobs, puts our local labor force to work, and creates a positive economic benefit to be given priority status. The county will focus our efforts to advance that project with a speedy time frame. To further expedite permitting, we will implement a professional certification pilot program. This partnership with participating municipalities will enable an architect or professional engineer registered and licensed in the state of New York to self-certify that the plans they file are in compliance with applicable laws. This will reduce the amount of time a builder would normally wait for a permit or review. To the supervisors and mayors, we'll be reaching out to you to identify partners to participate in this pilot program. The third deals with infrastructure. 15 years ago, Dutchess County launched our Partnership for Manageable Growth to protect farmland and invest in infrastructure. Through those years, we invested $6.5 million in the preservation of over 3,000 acres of active farmland and critical open space. Yet, no funding was sought for water and sewer expansion. The funding for this program has expired, and now is the time to refocus it. In order to assist agribusiness, provide strategic economic opportunity, and revitalize our community centers, we must invest in infrastructure. We need water and wastewater to support job creation and stimulate redevelopment in commercial corridors. Focused infrastructure development also prevents sprawl and enables sustainable housing development while strengthening our agricultural industry. Our infrastructure planning and investment partnership will leverage federal dollars, state aid, and our own commitment of $5 million with private investment and municipal matching funds, all focused on infrastructure projects that redevelop our community centers or lead to significant job creation and private investment. Business attraction. We cannot wait for large employers to come to us. We must independently and aggressively market our assets and available space beyond our borders. To that end, we've developed a business attraction program, and this year we will contract with the Economic Development Corporation's External Marketing Council to implement it. Dutchess County has over 2.5 million square feet of vacant commercial and industrial space. 2.5 million square feet. Much of this has been empty for years and has cost us jobs, tax revenue, and other economic benefits. In partnership with the External Marketing Council, we now have a comprehensive database of vacant and other commercial and industrial properties. And to help fill this empty space, Dutchess County will participate in a new lead generation program in development with the New York State Empire State Development, the New York State Economic Development Council, the Hudson Valley Economic Development Corporation, and Dutchess County's Economic Development Corporation's EMC. This is our alliance working together. Our new business attraction program includes a public-private branding and promotional effort. This will require resources to be effective, and I will ask our state representatives and the county legislature to match the EMC's funding for a targeted marketing campaign to fill the 2.5 million square feet of vacant space, which has the potential to create more than 12,000 new jobs. I'd like to extend our thanks to the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Hudson Valley Young Professionals for their partnership with us to improve the economic climate here in Dutchess County. In particular, and very timely, after, a billion years, Charlie North, the president of the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce, has decided to retire, and Dutchess County is grateful to him. He, in fact, deserves a hug and maybe a kiss. There is no one like him, and no one has advocated for the business community in this county with more smarts, more strategy, and more personality than Charlie North. Now we focus on the future. Entrepreneurial development. In order to help foster entrepreneurial growth and provide a network for startup businesses, I've asked Charlie and the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce, as well as their Hudson Valley Young Professionals, I think represented here tonight by James Lentz from TEG and Jennifer Powensky from the Chazen Companies. Are they both here? Wave. They're here. Nice round of applause to their leaders. Thank you. We've asked them to lead a strategy for entrepreneurial development and young professional retention and attraction. Additionally, we're in the planning stages to bring a startup weekend to one of our college campuses. These are 54-hour events where developers, designers, marketers, and product managers come together to share ideas, form teams, build products, and launch new businesses. The next wave of economic growth will ride in on the shoulders of young professionals. These young, motivated innovators aren't tethered to a time zone and don't expect to work for any one employer very long. They live in a world with no borders, problem solve in a less structured way, and can connect to anyone, anywhere, at any time. With over 20,000 college students calling Dutchess County home, so many talented young business leaders, and our proximity to the business capital of the world, we must engage these millennials. By leveraging Dutchess County's staying power, we need their help, input, and investment. We'll ask them, why? Why Dutchess? What brought you here? What can we do to keep you here? How can you help make this the community you call home and build your business in? We've asked the Hudson Valley Young Professionals to partner with us in a campaign to engage and empower this generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. While the Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency is an independent public authority separate from county government, it is our greatest tool for new business attraction and the sixth point in our strategy. A recent audit by the New York State Comptroller has made clear the IDA needs immediate reform. Working with Legislature Chairman Rob Rollison and Deputy Commissioner Hicks, we've outlined a proposal that we will submit to the chairman of the IDA that includes diversifying the board and the county taking over responsibility for reporting, compliance, and management. The IDA will be brought into statutory compliance and will implement best practices recommended by the State Comptroller and its State Authorities Budget Office. Lastly, as part of right-sizing county government and in pursuit of creating a one-stop shop for business, Dutchess County Planning and Development will align with the Dutchess County Economic Development Corporation to provide updated demographic, economic, and GIS data. This important information will be used to monitor and evaluate our economic development strategy. We must ensure our economic development programs remain relevant, and the strategy responds to an evolving competitive environment. Economic development doesn't occur from a prepared agenda or from closed quarterly meetings, and our efforts cannot be limited by past practice or bureaucratic structure. I have seen the passion in the eyes of our business leaders. I have listened to their call for a new approach, and we are responding. It is time to re-engage this community in a robust dialogue about our future, to allow the business community that rebounded from devastating job losses in the 1980s and 90s to be reborn. Through roundtable forums, media campaigns, and our communication effort, we will bring together business leaders from all communities and all sectors to engage in a countywide comeback. And no one place is more critical to that comeback than the county's seat, the city of Poughkeepsie. I am tired of the bad press across this country where they choose to describe this county's largest city as an afterthought. This is the county seat, and it is time that we treat it as such. And that is why the revitalization of the waterfront and redevelopment of the surrounding neighborhoods, all of the neighborhoods, is absolutely necessary. The county, city, Scenic Hudson, Walkway, Metro North, and other stakeholders have been working hard on a waterfront redevelopment strategy. By incorporating the many projects along the riverfront with transit-oriented development at the Poughkeepsie train station, we can infuse new growth and new energy in the city for all its neighborhoods and well beyond. The strategy and corresponding zoning code is nearly ready for review by the City Council. Once adopted, the MTA can promote the plan and seek developers for their property. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no time for delay. The future of Dutchess County is tied to the future of the city of Poughkeepsie. Its success is our success. Its failure is our failure, and we have to ensure that we are successful. Before I took office, the Dutchess County Airport cost the county hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. In just 2 years, we cut the county's subsidy of the airport 35%. That's a savings to taxpayers of over $250,000. This operating deficit, of course, and please remember this operating deficit does not account for the airport's annual economic impact of $44 million. But to evaluate the airport's future, I requested a comprehensive audit by our county comptroller. Jim, thank you for that. And commissioned a financial analysis by highly renowned Stephen Baldwin Associates. They provided key recommendations, with two being the most critical. The first, water and sewer must be provided for any reasonable expansion, and the second, Dutchess County should hire a private organization to assume airport operations. In December, we were awarded a state economic development grant to bring water to the airport and are pursuing additional funds for wastewater on site. In so doing, we can promote private investment and new private sector jobs. This will assist in attracting a private operator and retaining Sikorsky AAG. With 60 private sector jobs and a $5 million payroll, AAG can be a catalyst for the private development of the airport. In the next weeks, we will seek an experienced fixed-based operator to manage, develop, and market the airport. By reinvigorating our airport advisory board, investing in needed water and wastewater, and privatizing operations, the Dutchess County Airport can be an unparalleled economic asset and it is time it performs as one. Now, while we seek to privatize airport operations, one county asset has already achieved the same. Dutchess Stadium is a county park, and it is owned by county government. It was built on land owned by the Beacon City School District. Yet, it is operated and managed by a contracted private sector partner, Keystone Management Group, parent company of the Hudson Valley Renegades. The Renegades pay us rent and other fees which cover our expenses. They cover our expenses. Now, the debate to build and own a stadium occurred in 1992. I was in high school. Since then, this county has seen significant benefits from hosting this successful minor league baseball business. And make no mistake, minor league baseball is big business. The Renegades employ over 200 people. They support dozens of nonprofit jobs. They support dozens of not-for-profits. They attracted over 3 million fans to their games and millions more to concerts, carnivals, car shows, and high school and college competitions. All of this generates sales tax revenue to the county, profits to neighboring businesses, and paychecks to local residents. The Renegades contract expires at the end of 2016, and we will work to negotiate a mutually beneficial agreement. We should, though, enjoy the economic benefit that they are, embrace the team we love, and ensure they know Dutchess is the only home for them. Minor league baseball, though, is less about the sport and more about something less tangible yet exceptionally more valuable. It's about making memories. From across the world, young men yearning to make it big in America's pastime come here. Thousands of men and women have interned, studied, worked, and honed their skills employed here. Millions of fans and families travel from throughout the East Coast to this stadium for exciting baseball, great family fun, and memories that last a lifetime. And they do it all in a place, on a field, called Dutchess. Whether a county-owned ballpark, support of a community college, struggling business, or challenge facing a family, the work we do and lives we live require partnership, a willingness to compromise, and a certain amount of trust, even when we have doubt. The comeback trail is steep and it is arduous. And while the state of our county is fragile, our people are resilient, and our potential remains strong. Strong, resilient, honest. I think you deserve at least that from your county government, and I think you deserve that from me. Those were the lessons that he taught us. My grandfather, Albert D'Annunzio. He wanted me to collect stamps. I hated collecting stamps. But I did it because it made him proud. And I think in some very strange way, that's why I entered into public service. The concept of giving back, not for one's personal satisfaction, but for the pride of others. I think you expect that from us. He shared stories of sacrifice in his service to the United States Army, growing up with significant challenges, raising 2 daughters, one who raised 3 terrific boys, two of whom have made great success. The other is the county executive. And he watched his grandkids grow. He wanted nothing more from us than respect to others, love of family, and a commitment to giving back. He never got to see my name on the ballot. He died before I ran for village trustee. But I think 20 years later, he might be proud of his grandson. Many of you know me quite well, and others don't. I take personal the challenge that you have given me, and I take serious the sacrifice we've asked of you. I was once told when I ran for county legislature, one of the re-election campaigns, the person running against me decided to attack me. And he said, "Don't worry, it's not personal." There are 25 county legislators who serve this county. Everything they do is personal. The service that the business leaders commit to this county is personal. The leadership that these people, Butch Anderson, Jim Coughlin, Bill Grady, Brad Kendall, Rob Rollison, the town supervisors, the village mayors, all of us, it's personal. And we allow ourselves to get lost in the rhetoric. We allow ourselves to get lost in the anger. And we allow ourselves to allow the turbulence of the day to take hold. Not in this county. Don't let that be the message we send to people who call this place home. Don't let that be the message we send to those who want to move here. And don't let anyone dictate to us that we can't overcome any challenge, that we aren't resilient, that we don't have before us the greatest potential. You know me quite well. If nothing else, I am unabashedly sincere. I take very personally the work that we do, and I welcome the challenge and criticism. I care deeply about this community, and I love every minute that you have given me as the honor of serving as your county executive. I am always optimistic, to a fault. I know that greater things are to come, that people, when working together and putting aside their differences, can bring about great change, and that despite the challenge, despite the tax burden, despite the unpopular decisions, we can push through it together. And I rarely tire. In other words, I'm highly caffeinated. But these last few months have been tiring. But I know this. The challenge that you've put before me is not greater than the challenge many of our families, businesses, and individual residents face. And we will never forget that. And let me tell you this. I would never, ever suggest to anyone that they should sacrifice for us. I suggest to government that it must sacrifice more for all of you. The decisions we've made have consequence, and I accept my responsibility. And all I ask as your county executive is for your trust and your patience. I will do everything in my power to reduce the burden you carry and improve the state of our county. And for that, I am grateful. May God bless you, and may He continue to bless Dutchess County. Thank you.